Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's September 8th, 2001. I'm sitting in the office of an optometrist with my mom and with my sister. It's September, so it's back to school season, and it's really crowded with parents and with kids. And the optometrist calls in my sister for her checkup. He asks her to sit down and face that poster that we're probably all familiar with the really big letters at the top and the smaller letters at the bottom. And he asks her to cover her right eye and to read with her left. So she does this, and my sister Jasmine goes on to say 4 words that will mark her life and will mark my family's life forever. And she says, "I can't see anything." I'm the oldest of 5 kids. My parents came to this country from the village of Huehuepiaxtla in the state of Puebla in Mexico back in 1980. And they came to this country looking for the best possible opportunities for the children that they would have. I was born in the Bronx. And as many first-generation kids, we learn very quickly to become really good translators. We go to a lot of appointments with our family, with our parents, with our siblings. And so this is why I was with my mom and my sister on that day. The doctor proceeds to ask Jasmine again, "What do you mean you can't see anything?" And she says, "Everything looks dark." So of course, we're sent to the emergency room. My mom is, frantic. I'm simultaneously trying to translate things for her while also trying to understand what's going on myself. And so after every possible exam that could have been done on her at the hospital, the doctor comes back and tells her that she has a tumor. And so I assumed that because she was having vision problems, she had a tumor perhaps in her eye. So my questions were, if we remove this tumor, will she regain her vision? Can it be operated? And the doctor says to me, her tumor is not in her eye. Her tumor is in her brain. Jasmine has something called a craniopharyngioma, a brain tumor that sits over the pituitary gland. Now you can imagine what state my parents were in. ¿Qué está pasando? What's going on? What are we gonna do? And so Jasmine is immediately admitted into the hospital, and we're seeing specialists from everything that you can imagine: neurosurgery, endocrinology, ophthalmology. And I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders at that time. I was trying to comprehend what was going on, and I was trying to help my family understand what was going on. I recognized at that time that I served as a bridge between my family and between the doctors. Up until that point, up until that summer, right before Jasmine was diagnosed, I thought that I was going to go to medical school. It was what you did if you were good in science. I didn't really know about any other careers that you could pursue that had to do with science. And so I was pre-med at my undergrad. I went to St. Francis's College in Brooklyn. And that summer, I participated in a summer research program at Columbia University. So this was back in 2001. And I participated in the Leadership Alliance National Symposium, just like you are sitting here today, except mine was in Atlanta. And that experience opened up my eyes to what scientific discovery was. It made me realize that you could become a scientist, something that had never crossed my mind before. And so that had a tremendous impact on my career path, because now I had something else that I wanted to pursue. And so this science background was sort of why my parents were relying on me to sort of explain all of these things to them. I wanted to be there for my family because I had felt that they had sacrificed so much already for me, for my siblings, leaving everything that they knew behind. Eventually, Jasmine had surgery on September 12th, 2001, a day after the Twin Towers collapsed. And so you can imagine that it was a chaotic situation for us, both in our family and outside, in our home. Everything was falling apart, and I was trying to make sense of that. Looking back, I think that my experience in the Leadership Alliance program sort of helped me prepare for those experiences because I was confident enough to question what was going on with my sister. I learned how to come up with good questions, with the right questions. It also really helped me come out of my shell because, believe it or not, I was incredibly shy then. And that experience made me come out of my comfort zone. All of those things played a tremendous role in what I would end up doing for my family. So Jasmine was in the hospital for about a month, and most of the tumor had been removed. But a few months later, she had to go back to remove the rest of the tumor. And due to many, many, many complications, she ended up spending 4 months in the hospital. That was in my junior year, my spring semester. I dropped every single class because I had to be there for my family. My dad was the only income at home. I said that I was the oldest of 5. And so I had 4 younger siblings. My mom had to go back and forth from the hospital. My dad went back and forth from his job. But I moved in to the hospital with my sister. I was 21 years old. But I felt that I had that responsibility for a number of reasons. One, I understood the language. I understood the science. But I also wanted to be sort of in control of a really chaotic situation. And I didn't want anybody to humiliate my family. You see, while I was in the hospital living with my sister, I saw a lot of things that really upset me. And I was exposed to see how people from different races and different classes are treated in the medical system. And I didn't want anybody to look down on my family because they couldn't speak English, because of the color of their skin, because they had a different culture. All of us have the same dignity, and all of us have a right to a good healthcare system. And so I took it upon myself to take care of this situation and moved into the hospital with her. Eventually, Jasmine did get better. Jasmine is now 29 years old. She's living a cancer-free life. She's our milagro. She's our miracle. And I thank God every single day for that. Once Jasmine was doing better, I was able to go back to school. So I had graduated from my undergrad in 2003. I took 3 years off of school to sort of focus on all that was going on at home. And in 2006, I enrolled at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine to pursue my PhD. And I graduated in 2014 with a PhD in genetics and developmental biology. And the moment that I was able to thank my family at my thesis defense is the single happiest moment of my life. Because my family was sitting there, because they could see everything that I had accomplished, everything that they had contributed to. it was the American dream coming to fruition. And it's something that drives me every single day. I'm really fortunate to be in the position that I'm in now. I develop programs, I mentor students, and I feel really happy that I can interact with students in this way and share my story, and perhaps even maybe inspire in that we share similar circumstances. I'm happy to be able to share with all of you here today, and I just wanted to leave you with a quote from the activist Cesar Chavez that says, once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate somebody who has learned how to read. You cannot oppress those who feel pride. Thank you.